I'm not all 100%, but I'm here. And so what our Sigl Center is doing is great to me. And I think that what you can do to the community is a lot. And I've learned a lot of things about our Sigl community of agencies. And it has inspired me to want to volunteer for your organization. And so therefore, I asked Haley, could I volunteer for CP Rochester? And so I am here today to talk to you about the brochure that we developed. And now Diane will talk to you.
Hi, I'm Diane DeRuyter. I am a junior at St. John Fisher. What brought me to Fisher was my background has been in commission retail sales. I managed numerous stores, my largest being a $12 million store. I got to the point where I felt like I could do more, and I wanted to be more in the area of helping people, which is why I decided to come to St. John Fisher. So I'm a sociology major with a concentration in gerontology and a minor in psychology. And in Mrs. Tweed's class, Agencies and Careers, we had the opportunity to decide between two organizations, VOA or Sigl. I chose Sigl for two reasons. One, I was somewhat familiar with the organization, where it was somewhat the population of people that they helped, because I actually live right down the street on South Ave. And two, I wanted to know more because I have a daughter who's on the spectrum. And I know that Sigl also worked with the elderly population, which is also the area of population that I wanted to work with after I graduate. So that's why I chose Sigl. One of the main things that we as a group, when we first came to Sigl to develop materials for community outreach, was exactly what Sigl is. Sigl has tons of different branches, organizations, and to us, we were like, whoa, like what, this is a lot. So first we needed to gain a better understanding of what the organizations are, how it's constructed, what is the order of operations, what Sigl is, and everybody underneath that. Once we were able to understand that structure, we were able to put together a brochure that effectively communicated to the community exactly what Sigl is and why someone, a potential donor, should donate or volunteer. So we sat down and we decided that our focus would be on Sigl and the 6 member agencies. We wanted to make sure that the descriptions that we gave of those agencies effectively communicated what they are doing and how not only do they benefit the people that they work with, but the community in general. We also talked about the design, layout. We're not graphic majors. We don't have that background, so it was just our fresh new look and perspective of what to include in the brochure itself.
You did the best of it.
Yes. So we just handed out to you our shell of the brochure. We obviously understand that it does need some more graphic expertise added to it, but generally, we wanted to include who the member agencies are, who they help, and why somebody should be involved, whether it be by donations or by volunteering. What else? Colors we wanted to include for branding, the colors of Sigl. We also wanted to make sure that we had the spirit of the history of Sigl in this brochure too, to tie in the history of how Sigl began and how it's still a big part of the organization now, which is why we chose Howdy Neighbors on the front of the brochure. That was a tagline that Sigl used on his radio station, and I think a lot of people in the community are very familiar with that. I'll kick it over to Judith, and she'll talk about why we chose the testimonials we did on the back of the brochure.
Okay, the reason why we chose the testimonials that we did was because we wanted to give a feeling, a closer feeling of how, we wanted to give a closer feeling of why our Sigl Center
the impact that they have on the
that
people.
they had on the community.
Especially Rochester County.
Yes. So there was some thought into the people with the testimonials, exactly which ones we chose for the back of the brochure. Another key piece of the brochure that the three of us decided was, instead of going with a traditional 3-section brochure that every other agency has, we decided to go with a legal size with the tear-off to get people involved. Because it's one thing for a brochure to just tell you what they do, but we want people to get involved. Whether it be by monetary donations, volunteering their extra time, getting more information from the, Sigl itself. So we wanted to make sure that we gave that person the opportunity to do that. So that's why we decided.
Yeah, definitely with that too, like Diane was saying, assuming that the brochure would be printed out on a heavier paper so that you can actually perforate it and then tear it off. And you know, you have that impulse right then and there, whether you want to donate. You know, sometimes like time passes and then you kind of doubt yourself. You're like, oh, I don't think I'm going to donate today. I'll donate next week. And you never end up doing it. But with the brochure right in front of you, you get it and you're like, you know what, check, 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 send it in, here we go. So, and we also put a lot of effort into the whole legal size thing. I mean, it takes a lot of work. We have to contact certain people, and it's not just an 8.5 by 11, so we have to do a lot of work with that, and designing it took a lot of time, definitely.
The other piece of what we wanted to present to the agency is a pen idea. And you also have the actual pen in front of you that is designed by us three. And Howard's going to talk to you about how it actually became an idea, because for a while we didn't think it would be feasible.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because one day we were meeting in Kaylee's office, I believe with Ryan and then the three of us, and Diane was just writing some notes, and she had a pen from like the Monroe Department
Department of Health.
Yes, and you know, I looked at it closely and I was like, you know what, this is amazing. So, you know, I'm a spontaneous person, so I was like, let's make a pen, you know? And then, so when we checked it out, we were like, okay, every time you click a number or some kind of a hotline comes up or something like that. So we were like, okay, let's make this pen for Sigl. So there were 4 steps in doing that. The first one was actually coming up with the idea. The second was getting it from just an idea for something in the future possibly to an actual real project. The third step was a mini grant proposal, which we had to do through our school. And then the last one was actually making the pen happen, so the processing of it, speaking with people. So like I said, you know, we saw it and then we were like, okay, let's make a pen. We mentioned it to Kaylee and Ryan. They said, you know, it could definitely be a great supplement for Sigl, and you know, it would be lovely, but maybe because of funding issues, we can't let it happen now. And because our main focus was a brochure, we actually thought ourselves, hey, are we going to have the time to design a pen? Is this what our focus is all about? So then we did the mini grant proposal through our school, and basically Service Learning is like a program at Fisher, and they offer a maximum of $150 to each class if you fill out a grant proposal. And so we filled it out. We got approved for $75 towards this pen idea, and thanks to Peter, one day he just happened to be at one of our meetings, and he said, you know what, we're going to make this happen. We'll put a little bit of the campaign money into it, and then it just happened from there. So thanks to Peter, definitely, and Kaylee and Ryan and stuff. And then we talked with Marilyn Warmis. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with her from Warmis Enterprises. Oh my gosh, she did the best that she could. Constantly emailed, constantly called. She went through, like, triple checked each time to see if the numbers were correct. And you know, this pen is actually sort of expensive, but she gave it for a really good price for us, so we really want to thank her too, even though she's not here. But we thought, you know, not just a brochure, because sometimes people don't want to carry something like this around. This you can carry in your purse. You're like, oh my God, my kid, he's got an appointment at Rochester hearing a speech tomorrow. You call the number. You got, or you know, usually how guys they put in their little suit thing or whatever behind your ear. You know, it's always there, and it's got the numbers. It's even got Sigl's number, and I don't know, it's just great.
Yeah, and the overall design of it, you know, it has 6 clicks on there. So we're like, how perfect is this? 6 member agencies. How, you know, what better idea for that? So we have all 6 member agencies in the click, and then we have Sigl on the outside to kind of represent like they're the umbrella of the rest of the organization. The colors are consistent with the branding of Sigl as well. The 4 different colors for that, and we were able to do that. The grant proposal was kind of a rocky process. At first, when we were made aware of this, this availability of the grant, when Hal and I were looking for potential places to order the pen, we saw that the minimum order was $300. So right off the bat, it would be at least $300. So we were like, $150, you know, how are we gonna make this happen? So like Hava said, when we mentioned it to Peter, he was like, you know, we would definitely be willing to fund the difference. So I did the grant proposal. I loved it. It was my first time that I've ever done it. So I actually enjoyed that process. It's a little skill that I learned to pick up. Obviously something that could help me in the future with what I want to go into as a career. So we got the, so I got that in, and then we got a word back. The word on the grapevine was, because of the limited funding at Fisher, that we possibly would not even get the grant. But in the end, we pulled through and we ended up getting the grant, which we were just very happy. And I know our professor, Tweet, was very instrumental in making that happen.
Yeah, she
So,
advocated for us
and
you know,
understood that, you know, we've really put a lot of time into, you know, the idea and making it happen. So we're able to secure the funds for that. So
the pen wasn't just for fun, even though it is a very fun-looking pen. It was more to, you know, get contact information out, let it be at their fingertips, like the phrase goes. You know, instead of going on the internet, you can just look at this pen.
yeah, so there's our material. Is there anything else?
No, I just wanted to say that I hope that the brochure get used as a marketing tool so that Al Sigl reach the market that don't know about Al Sigl Center, because it has really helped me, and I hope it reach those that know about Al Sigl and also those that already know about Al Sigl. Simply because I once thought I couldn't afford to go to Al Sigl, and if I thought that I couldn't afford to go to Al Sigl, think about those who think like I thought, you know?
So we'll open up to, do you guys have any questions for us?
Well, first I'd like to say I think this is absolutely terrific. You guys did a great job. The pen is genius. It really is. And sometimes the most simple ideas are the ones that really make you, you know, it's an aha moment, but this is genius. Terrific.
Yeah.
Great work. What was the thing that you found most challenging as part of the project?
For me, it was the understanding of how the agency is structured. You know, not only does Al Sigl have the 6 member agencies, but there are the ventures, the affiliates, they're also in real estate and offering that. So getting a really good understanding of that so that we are able to communicate effectively to the community. I think all 3 of us are pretty comfortable now at, you know, being able to go out and visit and see the different agencies, and listening to Kaylee and Ryan explain the differences in their jobs and how they're involved in it. Gave us a good understanding. So that was the biggest part of it. And I think probably the first half of the 11 weeks was giving a really good understanding of that structure. How about you guys? Is that who you say would be the biggest?
Another challenge I think was, like I stated earlier, we had to take time out from our own week. And I'm sure you guys all know the whole college experience, but it's hard, you know. We're taking many classes at the same time we got stuff going on. I mean, I got a wedding to plan.